Hello everyone, this is Lubhita. CEO sir has asked me to speak to you today regarding something that has become quite relevant in today's times. Something which is not only going to help you uh, academically, but for your self improvement, for your own development as well. Let me first introduce myself to you. I have been in the teaching line for the past 22 years, and for the past couple of years, I have been associated with the Seth Tolaram Bafna Academy as an English language trainer. So, as my job profile states, I am here today to speak to you regarding the use and the relevance of English language to us, as well as how you can be confident and fluent while speaking the language. So, there are so many things which are misconceptions as far as language training goes. The first amongst them is that grammar is very important when you start, to speak a language. No, it isn't. You do not need to have a thorough knowledge of English grammar in order to be able to speak fluent and competent English. No, you don't. What you require is, see, I'll tell you it's a rational explanation for this. How do we start speaking our own, that is our native languages? How do you start doing that? When a child is born in a country like ours, uh, we have our native languages in Hindi and Marwari, right? Here in Rajasthan we speak Marwari, some people speak Punjabi at home, some others Oriya, Bengali, whatever is their regional language, we speak that language. Now, even before a child goes to school and learns his or her own alphabet, the child knows certain words and phrases and sentences of his own native language. That is easy to come by. How did that happen? Abhi tak to the child did not even go to school. Then how did it happen? How did the child learn to speak that language? It's very simple. The basic idea behind learning to speak any language is learning to listen. Listen, absorb, and then speak, right? So when a child listens to his elders and parents speak in a certain language, speaking certain phrases, he picks up those phrases, those colloquial usages of that language, and even before you know your k kh g in school, you start writing that thing. Even before that, you know words, you know that language. Now, we are talking specifically about English here, and we are at a natural disadvantage where English is concerned. Why? Because we are not native English speakers. Native English speakers are people who are born in England or in America or Australia, Commonwealth countries, where English is the major language. So a child born in any of those countries is bound to speak better English than us. Why? Because that child learns English right from his birth, right? He listens to that language being spoken to him and he picks up that language. So now what can we do? Because we are non-native English speakers, and we are at a disadvantage right from the beginning. We have this disadvantage that it's not our first language, right? So how do we go about it? What we have, led most people to believe is that if you learn the grammar of that language, you'll be able to speak well. No. According to me, if you learn the grammar of any language, whether it's English or Hindi or any other language, you learn how to write. You learn how to write it well. Speaking goes with listening. A lot of reading will lead you to it might lead you to become a good writer, because you read so much, you know how the words and phrases are used, you know how, new words, vocabulary and everything. So you know how to write well. You know in what context a word can be used. But when we are talking about communicative English, when we are talking about English as we speak it, we don't need a thorough knowledge of grammar. We just need a mild knowledge, which verb is to go with which subject. Subject verb agreement. Nothing much, right? So that can be easily learned in classrooms. What other thing that we can do, you don't even need to go to coaching classes to start speaking well in English. What you can do is listen to as much English as you can. Right now we are quarantined, we have time at our hands. We have you what you can do is you can choose, you can devote time to listening the English language. You also have one added advantage that we did not have growing up. You have internet at your disposal. So you can listen to native English speakers speaking in that language. So you cannot go wrong where pronunciation is concerned. Why? Because you have heard someone better speak it. Now when I say better, I just mean that that's their language, that's their native language. So obviously the pronunciation would be correct, right? So you can be confident when you have heard someone, a native, speak a particular word in a language. You can be confident that's the correct pronunciation of that word. So when you what you can do is you can devote time for a program, whatever program it may be, a TV series, it may be an English movie, or any other documentary, Animal Planet, Discovery, anything that you want to in where you are interested. What you can do is you can just watch that program and keep practice listening, listen to what they are saying, listen how they are pronouncing the words, listen how new words are being used in whatever context. So that is how you build up first vocabulary, because you learn new words. Second, you get to know the use of those words. And third, you know the pronunciation, right? Now this much is all right, all of us can do that. You can listen to English songs, you can listen with lyrics, of course, so that you know what they are singing. So you can do that. You can listen properly, and a lot of listening is required in order to be able to speak. Second that you have to do is practice speaking. Whatever you have heard, you will gain confidence only once you start speaking that language. Now what happens generally is, for us, because we are not again native English speakers, we are just learners of the English language, and we come from different age groups. So as a child of, say, kindergarten age is a lot less hesitant while speaking, and a person who is, say, 30, 20, 18, as we grow old, we our inhibitions begin, our hesitations start. So what we can do to remove that hesitation? First, believe one fact, that this is not a drawback. You don't know English or how to speak English, that's not a drawback. You know your native language, you know other vernacular languages that you have been brought up listening to and speaking. So you know that English is an added language, it's a foreign language, and you are learning to speak it. So there is no shame, there should be no hesitation while you speak. But having said that, there still is hesitation. We are human beings, and we are concerned how our peer group will take it, our friends. Are they going to laugh at us if we are? So first thing is, do not be afraid of speaking English, broken English. It is all right if you speak broken English at first. Everyone does that. You are just trying to learn, because as it is, this learning pattern is unnatural. For a language to be spoken correctly, it has to be spoken first and then written. And in English, I have already learned our ABCs, our alphabet at school. Then we have learned the words, then we have learned the grammar, and then now we are trying to learn how to speak it. So already we are going about it the roundabout way. So there is no hesitation. There should not be any hesitation while taking it up. Uh, what you can do is, what's it's a simple tip. When you listen to your own voice speaking uh, in any language, you gain in confidence. So, what I would advise you is that record your own voice. Watch something, listen to something, then you maybe a short story or something. You read that in your own voice and record it and keep it with you, and then you listen to that your own recording again. So when you listen to that your own voice speaking those words, you will gain in confidence. You will understand how I could have spoken this particular word better. So next time when you do that, you are going to speak it better, right? Secondly, if you are fond of English music, and even if you are not, you try and listen to one English song daily with lyrics, so that uh, get to know that song, that music, and with rhythm. Because when you learn something with rhythm, you tend to get it right most of the time. You tend to get it right. So when you if you like the music of a particular song, if you read the lyrics of that song, and you get to know that song again and again, you sing along with them. Put your earphones in and you sing along with that. Once you memorize the lyrics and everything, then you will lose this inhibition that you have. Inhibition is hesitation that you have. So these are very small tips which you can do. Thirdly, you can speak to like-minded people, like-minded friends, because I have seen the young people these days, either they are very confident, they and very focused, they want to learn things, or they take everything as a joke. So if you are in the first category, it's very easy for you. Because why? Because you'll have friends who think the same way, and if you try speaking with them in English, in whatever things that you have listened, and if you try framing your own small sentences and speaking to them in English, they are not going to make fun of you, right? So if you are sincere about learning the language, then the first thing is listening a lot of English language. Second, practicing it. And how to practice? Practice is, you can record your own voice and listen to it. You can sing along with an English song, or you can, talk to a friend. And I also suggest, sometimes I suggest to my, class where we have elder people, I ask them to, speak to customer care executives in English. Always choose English. There's a choice given. Whether you want to continue in Hindi or English, try and choose English all the time. When you're watching a match, say cricket or football, and there is commentary in both the languages, English and Hindi, choose English. Listen to that language as much as you can, right? And then try to imitate it. Try to imitate how we imitate our Bollywood heroes and other things. Like, so you can try to imitate somebody who speaks better than you. If you are sincere about learning the language, these are the tips that can help you. Again, I have mentioned that we are in a quarantine right now, so we have time on our hand. We can make a schedule out of it. What you can do is, you can watch at least one program daily in English, and try to enjoy that program. It's not, you don't have to read an English newspaper which bores you, or any part of that paper which bores you. If you like sports news, go straight to the sports page, read about it. The basic idea behind reading that thing or listening to that thing is not listening to the news. It's listening to the language being spoken by somebody who is a native English speaker, right? So when you listen to it, then practice it. Practice as much as you can without fearing how people would react to it, right? If you are sincere about learning the language, and if you have friends who have common inclinations, try and speak to them, right? So when you use that language in your own voice, if you hear your own voice speaking those words, that will give you confidence. Third, never shy away from a chance given to you. I've seen many, older people also, if they are given a chance to get on the stage and speak on the microphone, you refuse it. You tend to, blend into the wallpaper or something. You don't want to answer the teacher's question when you are in a classroom. You want to just, blend in the background. You don't have to, don't feel shy about it. What is the worst that can happen? You will be wrong. You will say a certain word in a wrong manner, but that's okay. That's okay. Even in Hindi you are not perfect. Hindi is your native language. That's, you are not perfect even in that. I'll give you a data, and this statistics is going to, I think, boost up your morale a little. Hindi is our native language. We have, heard our people speaking in Hindi right from our birth, and we think that we are good at it. But even in Hindi, we have only, say, about every human being has, say, about 800 to 1000 words which we can use. Like, that's our vocabulary bank. Unless of course you are an avid reader, then you might have a more, more words. Otherwise, a normal Hindi speaker would have, say, about 800 to 1000 words, and we, choose those words, and sometimes we hesitate in our own language also. We tend to forget words in our own language also. So when you don't hesitate while speaking your own language, whether you know a particular word or not, then why hesitate when you are speaking in English? In fact, you are learning something. My father tells me one thing. I'll tell you an anecdote. I used to make fun of a teacher of mine. She used to speak English in a desi accent, something which had a rural tint to it. And I used to come back home, and I never used to take that teacher seriously. And once I told my father about it, and I told him that she speaks with a desi accent, गांव की जैसी भाषा आती है. So he told me one thing that has stayed with me, and I'm sure if you listen carefully, it will stay with you too. He told me that if somebody speaks with an accent, that means that person knows one more language than you. So you don't have to think that that person is inferior to you. In fact, that person is superior. That person knows one more language than you. So what I advise is, listen to a lot of English, practice English, do not hesitate. Do not think that grammar is the way to go for spoken English. It's not the correct way. It's not the correct method to learn spoken English. Most coaching institutes also make the mistake of teaching you translative English. Translative English is, they give you a sentence in Hindi, that's bilingual English. And even YouTube tutorials, they also give you bilingual English, which is not the correct method of going about it. It's not the correct way. What they do is, they give you a sentence or a phrase in Hindi, and then they translate it in English. This is not, because most of the meaning of a sentence is lost in translation. There are certain things in Hindi which you cannot ever translate in Hindi. There are certain words which are peculiar to that particular language. You cannot translate all that. What you have to do is, you have to listen to that language, frame your own sentences, short, small sentences, which are, word groups, which are, functional English, bursts of ideas, idea bursts, only that much. You do not have to be grammatically correct about it. So that is how you can, improve your own language. And English is, it's gaining importance these days, because wherever you go, you need English. Whether that's for a job interview, even if it's for a social meetup, if you speak good English, that's the first impression. And speaking good English opens more doors than a college degree would do. So keep that in mind. Use your quarantine well. Stay safe. Stay home. Cultivate the reading habit. Listen to a lot of English. And practice. Thank you so much.